Hello, 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 hello. Hey friends, if you're here watching this replay, thank you so much for stopping by. Glad you're here checking it out. My name is Svava Brooks. I'm a trauma recovery coach, and you can learn more about the services that I offer to fellow survivors on the journey towards thriving on my website, svavabrooks.com. But here on this channel, we are working our way through my book, Releasing Your Authentic Self, a guide, 365-day guide. We're working through one day, one page at a time. But if you're here and not part of the group that is working way through the book, that's a-okay. We are so glad that you're here. We welcome you, and any comments or questions, resources that you're looking for. So if you're here with me live right here, right now, please say hello. Please let me know that you're here so we can welcome you. I'm so glad you're here, friends. Hey, Lynn, yes, you made it. Me too. Hey, EJ. Hey, Elizabeth. Hey, Rob. Hey, Sue. How are we doing? Good to see you all. Loving all those flowers, Sue. Those hearts, pink and red. Hello, hello, hello. Like always, let's start with here and now. How are we doing today? Right this moment. How are we doing? How are we feeling? Can see you guys are visiting and checking in. Hey, Denise. You're being molested by the cat? Well, I was earlier today. Literally, Penny, I was sitting in a different chair, an office chair that has fabric that he can literally climb up. And all of a sudden, I literally found him here trying to get my attention. It's food. Oh, she heard my voice, so it's my fault, huh? Hey, Sue. Hey, Sue. How you been, friend? Glad you're here with us. Elizabeth says, I'm feeling fine, a bit stressed and busy. Lynn says she just put her offending cat down. Yes. Rob says, I'm good, revisiting an old Tig. Notario, okay. Okay. Comedy, okay. All right. On the ground, not put to sleep, okay. Denise says, recovering. Recovering. Well, I'm glad we're here, friends. Glad we made it. One day, 1 week at a time right now, right? Just got back from a 45-minute walk, EJ. Woohoo! That's awesome. So the weather is nice and warm there. It's in the 60s here in Portland, so it's definitely cooled down significantly. And it's been rainy, so okay. Sounds like we have similar weather. It's been coming down hard. Coming down hard. So good to be here with 102. That's hot for California. And you're not far away from the coast either. You still have Santa Ana's down there? Pouring rain all day, says Lynn, East Coast. Please send rain. I would if I could, my friend. I would if I could. Your cat has disowned you, says Rob. He'll be around. He'll be around. Another heat wave. Oof. I'm sorry, Sue. I do not enjoy the heat. And hence why we moved away from California. It was getting too hot. Getting too hot. Well, friends, thank you so much for all the updates. Keep them coming. It's always good just to start with what's going on in our world right here, right now, right? We're practicing on being authentic, right? Come as you are. Never have to pretend. The topic today, learning how to truly love, is the most important gift you can give yourself and the world. So, for so many of us, right, we struggled with this because we had no role models. We didn't even know what loving us looked like, felt like, sounded like. Nor did we perhaps see people around us being caring and loving. So if we don't know how to do this, we start with self-compassion. As you guys know, my favorite topic. Self-compassion is the courage to connect completely with the parts of yourself that you don't like or you've never wanted to acknowledge. These are the parts you always kept hidden because you were ashamed of them. So the questions I posted for us today, and I'd love to hear from you if you'd like to share, what part of yourself is perhaps still hidden? Perhaps, possibly because you are ashamed of it. I just want to add here, right? Remember, shame is a liar. Often the stories that we have wrapped up around shame, it is not the truth. But these are the stories that we came up with as children, or they're wrapped up in the shame and the secrecy that we felt from the people that were hurting us, because the truth is, it was their shame, not ours. And then the second question today is, how can you start connecting with this part, whatever part of you that you perhaps are struggling with, by practicing self-compassion? So I have a handful of comments here. So I will go through and share. EJ, I don't see your permission to share, and that's okay. Just want to put it out there if you want me to share your comment. And Rob, you usually give me the green light, but if you want to just give me a heads up, that'd be great. Hey, Jackie, I just looked away and then I'm back and now you're here. She says, I'm here, but I'm not all there. Aw, I'm so glad you're here. Yes, EJ, self-compassion is definitely practiced through body and energy work. It can be self-care. Your walk today was self-compassion. You're taking care of your body, even though there may be parts of your body that you're like, I'm not so sure that I've accepted this whole body yet, but you're still taking care of it. And that's it. Absolutely. All the healing work, all the self-care that you're doing, EJ, that is self-compassion. That is self-compassion in action. Excuse me, my friends. Yes, that's right. EJ and Jackie, you guys know each other from a while back, don't you? If you remember from One Health. Should have grabbed the tissue before I sat down. So glad you're here, everyone. So thank you, Rob. I was just looking for that. Hey, Wanda's here. I didn't see you come in. There you are. There you are. I won't be walking anywhere today. All right, Jackie. I hear you, friend. Yep, Wanda made it. Good to see you, friend. Awesome. So as you guys know, I'm going back and forth between two windows. So some of the comments I won't see, but I keep coming back here and taking a look to see if I'm missing something. So our friend Sue P, since we have two Sues, Sue P shared with us today. She says, loving myself is something I've never found easy, though I'm slowly learning to take better care of myself and be kinder to myself. I used to feel strongly that if you really knew me, you wouldn't like me at all. But these days, I'm not consciously aware of hiding parts of myself. Excuse me. Yet more recently, I've been becoming aware of hidden parts of myself that I hadn't realized were there. I'm really not finding it easy to connect with them at the moment. And it's only too easy to judge myself for that. Hey, Sue. I hear you, I see you, I feel you, my friend. So who here can relate, right? That loving yourself was not easy. That was me. Taking care of myself was not easy. Being kind to myself, nope, I resisted that for a long time. And also when I made discoveries, when I learned something about myself that I hadn't known before, oh my goodness, that would like set those demons loose. My inner critic would have a heyday with it. So it would go off and like, see, I told you, right? Thank you, Lynn, right? Can relate to a majority of it. Yep, exactly. Yeah, my inner critic, when I discovered something about myself that I didn't before, would be like, see, it's because you're stupid, it's because you're broken, it's because everybody knows this but you. See what you did? See, right? What an embarrassment you are. Yeah. But what do we know about the inner critic? And what do we know about shame? And those toxic inner stories? We know where they came from and why they're here, but they're not true. And now that we know, we can, right? We can do something about it. I hear you, Lynn. I hear you. My inner critic is my daily running commentary. Yes. Yeah. And that can be a little tricky sometimes, right? We're gonna sort through, where is this coming from? Which layer is this? Which part is this? So, but part of releasing your authentic self is that you get to choose, and meaning like sort it out. Like once we become aware of the things and we hear those thoughts, we hear us say those words, and then it's like, wait a minute, what part of me? Where is it coming from? It's all right, Lady Leo. Be safe on the road. Be safe. Be safe. Yes. Are you meaning self-compassion or self-acceptance? Yes. Yes, you can. Yes, we can. And the more we hang out in spaces like this, right, where we're having these conversations, right? Sue was just sharing her personal experience. And then maybe a handful of you, and I did it, and me too, right? And me included, when I was reading through her words, like, yep, 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 yep. So it makes us realize, wait a minute, this is the impact of being abused. This isn't personal. There's nothing wrong with me. This is what a child, a body, a nervous system does to survive the past. And once we recognize it, right, to try to catch it and to change it, to shift it. Because it was a coping mechanism. It was a good strategy at the time, but no longer working, right? So thank you, Sue. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate it, you sharing. And I also recognize it is sometimes hard when we recognize that there is something there that we didn't see, right? We all have blind spots. Everybody has a blind spot. So be gentle with yourself. Rob shared with us today, he says, I have in the past got carried away with confusing loving myself and everyone must love me. My confidence on occasion got so overwhelming that I became quite carried away and brought back to earth with a bump. But with a few years of self-compassion and sensible approach, I feel more in touch with reality and confident. Good. Good, 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 my friend. And there is also, right, there's still difference in, self-esteem, right? Self-esteem, we are impacted, it's impacted by what we are seeing happening outside of ourselves, what people are telling us, right? But self-compassion comes from the inside. It's how you feel about you, right? And no one can take that away from you. Self-esteem, our self-esteem tends to go up and down with depending on how other people are making us feel or doing for us or validating us. But self-compassion is something, right, that we fulfill. So beautiful, Rob. Just like the rest of the human race, right? This is how we learn. Sometimes we swing from one extreme to the other, and then we kind of come back into the balance and find, oh, okay, so that's what that is. So that's what that means. Let's see here. I'm scrolling through your comments. Let's see here. There are things, Jackie says here, there are things that are a part of my authentic self that I like about me, but there are things that are not considered normal in today's world. Well, I get it. Jackie, you get to like you for you. And that's the best kind. Right? I love my quirkiness, right? I don't need anyone to be happy with that. I'm thrilled. I don't know if it's normal, but it works for me. I hear you, Sue. It's hard to shift when it feels like a part of you. And that is such an important piece, Sue, right? That's often what healing, what we discover on the healing journey. That, right, we learn something about ourselves that we perhaps had decided was a part of our personality or just who I am. And then we recognize, wait a minute. Right? Like I've shared with you guys a few times, right? I thought I was just a perfectionist and that's just part of my personality. I'm just very particular and I like things to be in order and certain way. And then when I realized that, you know, I was a control freak and I was driving people nuts by how controlling I was. And that was a little like, ouch, right? And yeah, my adult daughters can tell me stories that are not fun or pretty, where I was kind of hard on them because I was so controlling and everything had to be just right. So as I learned, because I didn't see it, I didn't know it. It's okay, Svava. Now that you know better, you'll do better. And of course, that kept showing up for a while. It was a pattern that was very powerful and came from a need of, right, being in control and feeling safe. So it took time. It took time. That's right. They're not bad or wrong. Just things that people think don't match my age or whatever. I hear you, Jackie. I hear you. Rob says, egomania combined with hyperactive is not pretty. I hear you. Yes, yes. Okay, EJ, I'll take a look. Problem is, how do you keep the stuff you do like about yourself and kill what you don't like? It's kind of an all or nothing proposal. Well, that's interesting, Lynn. I would love to hear from other people some thoughts about this, because I don't think it's all or nothing, because I personally, in my experience and my point of view, which you don't have to agree at all, is that we live in a very, paradoxical world where there's lots of gray in between the black and white. And so for me, it was also that I understood that my black and white world also came from my trauma response. It was like from the fight or flight, that played a part in this black or white world thinking. But when I was able to step away from it and be more self-compassionate, with me, and we are going to just touch upon the components of self-compassion as a reminder for all of us, as I was able to be more accepting of myself, then by extension, I was able to kind of take a look at the part that I had seen either good or bad and choose the things that I wanted to keep and let go of the rest. There's still things that I like to have a certain way, and I do it for me, but I don't push my need to have that control or the need to have things a certain way onto other people. So it's more about taking it on as like that perception, or my black or white world doesn't spill on over onto other people as much. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yes, the problem sometimes is discerning what's good and what's not good and what we believe. Yes. I hear you. I hear you, Sue. I hear you. Let's see here. I'm scrolling up. All right. But the thing is, we get to decide what's good for us. You get to decide what's good for you, always. But we don't get to decide what's good for other people. That they get to decide. And we have to be okay with that they get to decide. They don't have to agree with us, right? To honor other people's point of view, even though it's different from our point of view. So let's see here. I think I caught most of those comments from you guys. All right, I will refresh here. And I did see Lady Leo's comment here as well. Lady Leo shared, my physical being holds the shame that feels like it will never leave. As a child, I was teased because I was generally bigger than my peers, and adults, because they saw my size, thought I was older and expected me to behave according to their perception of my age. Combine that with the shame of being touched inappropriately. Yes, shame is my body's garment. I'm currently working on this very thing. I'm moving at a snail's pace, but it's movement. I now actually see myself when I stand in front of the mirror, not for very long, but long enough to acknowledge something positive and that I appreciate about my body. That's great, Lady Leo. That's great. Can we acknowledge Lady Leo? I can relate. I can relate. Shame was like a piece of clothing that I wore for a long time. It definitely was something that I wore. Yep. And then I made a point of recognizing the feeling of shame. And so that's what I see you're doing, Lady Leo. You're starting to recognize it. And, you know, maybe when it kind of comes and takes on over your body, and then it's running your thoughts, and then it's running your actions. Yes. Shame is heavy like chain mail. Yes, it is. I hear you, Lynn, right? There was a point I couldn't even look at my reflection in the mirror. Same here. I was just telling this, talking to someone recently about this. It's like I looked in the mirror, but I didn't see anything. I didn't see myself did not see anything. So I'm proud of you, Lady Leo, for continuing to do this work, to continuing to starting to approach your body, because this is your home. This is our home, my friends. The only one we got. And so many of our hard feelings is because we reject our bodies. And then we end up feeling rejected, like we're not good enough. The truth is, our bodies are good enough. They are. But helping it to release the shame that we take on takes time, and it's important work. So I'm proud of you, Lady Leo, for doing this hard heart work of healing. So thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing. I hope you're safely driving, my friend. Thank you, Sue. Elizabeth says here, I can relate in a slightly different way. I think my mother only feels love towards babies. When the baby grows up and shows a personality, then it's inconvenient, and therefore that's what I am to her. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm very sorry, Elizabeth. I hear you, Lynn, right? I'm too much for some and not enough for others. I hear you. I hear you. This is a generational issue, I think, right? Is that when we were raised with conditions, we got love for performance or how we showed up or a certain age, or that we pleased our caregivers or did something for them. But once we outgrow that, then, and we don't serve a purpose or fulfill a role or can take care of that duty, then, right, it's very unfortunate. I hear you, EJ. Yes, Rob. Yes, really hard when we're not what they want. Yes, yes. And unfortunately for so many of us, we pick it up, right? When we're not what they want, we become, right? Our struggle is that we're not what we want. We are not what we want. We want something different. And that's the struggle. That's our own, right, rejection and almost like self-abandonment, because we continue to try to please the perception of what other people want instead of, well, what do I want? What do I want? What do I need? You were a lovely child. I'm sorry. I'm a walking contradiction. I hear you, Lynn. I hear you, friend. Well, friends, I hope you take some comfort here in seeing that you are not alone. Let's see here. EJ said I could share this. So she says, I had an experience recently getting a massage with a cranial sacral work that uses energy work, where she put her hand on my abdomen, like you often, abdomen, I'm sorry, on my abdomen, like you often comment about hand on heart and on your stomach. Something hit me so hard with this experience where I feel like I can't connect like this on my own yet, but I'm willing to possibly go there with her. I haven't talked to her about that yet, but I'm just thinking about, the gist that I'm thinking about is a huge progress for me. Yes, yes, EJ. That is awesome. That is awesome. I'm so glad you're experimenting with some energy work. So good for you. Good for you, my friend. And thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. And keep us posted. Keep me posted how it goes. Lynn, I actually wrote a poem called The Walking Contradiction a few years ago. I found it recently still relevant. I'd love to see that, Lynn. We have lots of awesome writers in our group here that would appreciate that. So feel free to share that in our group. You guys are moving so fast, I can't keep up with all the all the chat, but I think I did. I think I did. Well, yes, EJ, your willingness to go and connect with your body, yes, that's an act of self-compassion. That's an act of self-compassion. You're learning to show up for yourself, right? And speaking of that, I'm gonna just quickly here with us share the components of self-compassion, right? There's 3 pieces to self-compassion. And the first one is, right, we recognize, am I understanding myself or am I punishing myself? Am I seeking to understand myself or am I punishing myself? And here's the thing, we tend to be the worst with ourselves when things are hard or bad or we're struggling. That's when we literally turn on ourselves. So how to practice daily? If you check in with yourself, how am I feeling? And if you're feeling anything other than, what do I say, peace or good, notice your thoughts and ask yourself, am I understanding myself or am I punishing myself? That's the first piece. The second piece is the mindfulness piece in this present moment, right? And it's about neither ignoring or exaggerating. Neither ignoring or exaggerating our feelings. That's right, give peace a chance. Right? And especially when we have feelings of failure, like we feel less than, or we feel like we made a mistake, or we didn't live up, or things didn't go according to plan, or any of those scenarios or situations, which is pretty chronic for most of us, especially when we have complex trauma, childhood trauma. We're constantly criticizing ourselves. So be mindful. Is the reason why I'm feeling so low, feeling so down, feeling so sad, is it because there's something happening here? Or is this from the past? Or am I exaggerating because, right, something happened, my inner critic is having a heyday and I'm just being so mean and cruel towards myself that I'm making it worse. And the third piece, right, is that sense of common humanity. Exactly what we're doing here. We come together here. I invite you to be honest about where you are at right here, right now. What are you feeling right now? Let's name those feelings. Let's give them a voice. Let's bring the light in. And as we feel those hard feelings, we remember that everybody goes through this. Everybody goes through this. If you're in a body, check. You're going to feel feelings, check. Right? And when I feel the hard feelings, it's not because I'm broken. It's not because I'm stupid or worse than anybody else or more deserving of pain and suffering, that it was my fault. No. No, it's me too. Me too. This body, like everybody else's bodies, feels the hard feelings. And some bodies have learned better than others because they had role models and better support systems, have an easier time with some of the hard feelings. And so I'm going to give this body and especially lots of grace and kindness and warmth. And do my best not to, right, isolate and withdraw. Because I'm human, just like all of us. All of us. So how do we notice? How do we talk to ourselves? Right? How can we slowly and gently and with an intention turn up the volume when we are feeling low and things are hard? Notice the words that you're using to speak to yourself and notice the tone. I think the tone is even worse to catch. Exactly, Lady Leo. Beautiful. Found it easier to accept the hard feelings since I've started to acknowledge them without judgment. Yes, exactly. Yes, they're just feelings. They're just messages, information. There's something that is needing to be acknowledged, needing your attention. Right? Judging ourselves for having thoughts, judging ourselves for having feelings. It's crazy making. So that's what we're doing here. We're normalizing those thoughts and those hard feelings. There you go, Rob. There you go. So recognizing the words and the tone that we use when we speak to ourselves, right? And offer and extend to ourselves the same words of kindness and the same sweetness and kindness in our voice that we do to our friends. Your body can hear you. The same way it can hear our critical voice, it also hears and feels the warmth, your warmth towards you. Self-compassion works on the body's threat system. Because here's the thing, right? When we self-inflict the shame and the inner criticism, we are contributing to the inner stress, right? We are part of what's keeping us stuck in the fight or flight constantly, right? It is no longer coming from out here. We are the one fueling that fire, pushing cortisol stress hormones into our nervous system, right? We are living with a tiger, and the tiger is being fueled by us. And again, when I understood that, and I understand this is why I'm willing to turn up being a little relentless and to get in on this to stop it, right? Because this body has been through enough stress. I don't need to be self-hating or self-loathing or self-criticizing myself anymore. No, enough already. So the other side of it is when we start to turn to ourselves with kindness and warmth, we activate the oxytocin, the feel-good hormones in our nervous system that not only help us to access, rest, and digest, right? Lowering the levels of stress in our body, but then that also helps us to start to thrive. It actually is the oxytocin that helps to, rewire our system. So, compassion practices, actually just before we popped on, so Kristen Nuff, kind of the self-compassion guru, posting another article about why self-compassion practice is important, especially right now. We are all being called upon to hold space for each other. Life is hard right now. Things are uncertain. Things feel very shaky. And it's hard for our nervous systems. It pains our heart to know other people are suffering. It hurts. And then when we experience, I'm failing, I can't be here for other people, then we tend to be hard on ourselves. That's not even helpful, because that's going to cause burnout and compassion fatigue. But when we can come to our hearts with kindness and warmth and gentleness, today I'm doing the best I can, all of us, our window of tolerance or our capacity for holding and producing and being here for each other used to be out here. And now, right, we've shrunk a little bit. So this is important. Self-compassion leads to well-being by holding the negative thoughts and emotions in a loving and connected presence. Exactly. Holding space for them, not ignoring, this is hard. These are hard feelings. But what most of us notice, right, is that when we feel seen and heard and validated by others, we feel better. Sometimes we forget that we can actually extend that kindness and compassion towards ourselves. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. So, we all have our good days and our bad days, and we're all work in progress. So one day, I saw somewhere, one snail pace at a time. Giving peace a chance, Rob. We are getting there, my friends. Yes, we are. Any thoughts, comments, questions on this? I also have a little announcement for you guys. But if anybody has questions on the self-compassion model or what I just shared. That's right, Rob. Elizabeth asks how to address someone who is too needy for attention without being cruel. Well, because we don't have to point out what we see as going on for them, but you can have a boundary around what you can give them in terms of your time or your attention, right? So it's less about them and more about you, right? Is that if someone is asking for your attention, be upfront about I can hang out with you or chat with you between such a time and such a time, or I cannot be here for this or this, or I'm willing to listen to this and this and this, but not this, this, and this. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Because, Rob, we worry about hurting people's feelings. But the thing is, treat people as you would want to be treated. I think I would rather people be honest than giving me time and attention if they are resentful of it or don't have it or saying yes out of guilt or obligation. Obviously, don't know the whole story, Elizabeth. But it's about, I think, having boundaries, because whatever is going on with that person, that's their challenge. And there are things we can't fix for people, unmet needs for people. We can't take care of those. A lot of those unmet needs people have to take care for themselves, reparenting themselves, or be clear about what it is that they're asking from us. A lot of people are very passive aggressive. Exactly. We are allowed to say no. Exactly. Because your well-being, your self-care is a priority. Is a priority. And sometimes, like, right, when we worry about saying no, is are they going to withdraw their love? What are they going to think of us? Are they going to be upset? And the truth is, other people's feelings are their feelings. And the truth is, we can't make people feel anything because their feelings are theirs. And if we have feelings about what other people are doing, it's because we're taking it personally. And the truth is, all people are always, always, always just doing what they need for taking care of their needs. So we'd be happy to give you a little more insight if there are any particulars of the situation, but I hear you. And it's sometimes hard when someone has been in part of our life for a long time, and then we're recognizing, I'm kind of feeling like I've outgrown this relationship, or it's very one-sided. They're taking, this is not a give and take. But then slowly, either you speak up about it, or you make it clear that, your time is going to be spent elsewhere. And putting you and your needs and what, feeds your heart and soul is a priority. We are not responsible for other people. We're not responsible for other people's happiness. There are, of course, times when we can contribute with, care if there's something going on in that person's life, but we can't make people happy. So you're welcome, Elizabeth. You're welcome. Happy to help. Happy to help. People grow apart, relationships grow apart. It happens, not necessarily anybody's fault. No, exactly. Exactly. It certainly can happen. Absolutely. 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 So we have about 5 minutes left, and I will post something about this in the group in the next, Roxy, no Roxy here. Not today. I will post about this in the group in the next day or so. But I have a little project I've been working on and meant to have this launch way sooner this year, but because of everything else, things have gotten delayed and rescheduled. You're welcome, Elizabeth. But I'm looking for some, what do I say, volunteers maybe. I have basically recorded the Journey to the Heart book. I've created an audio to go with the Journey to the Heart. I've heard from many of you how you enjoy listening to my voice. Sometimes, I hope. And so I have recorded it. And I've put it up as an audio course. And I'm asking for a handful of people to go through it for me the first 2 weeks to give me some feedback. So basically what you will get is that once a day, starting with day 1 in the book through the day 14, you will get an audio where I read the page of the day. And also I kind of elaborate a little bit more, go a little deeper, share a little personal story about the truth of the day. And also, I also offer one meditation in that 2 week. And so my goal is that I will have 365-day recordings, and also part of that I will be offering in there at least 2 meditations for each month. So it's going to be 12 months for the whole year. But so I'm super excited to be offering this, hopefully before the year is over. At least it will be ready by January. But like I said, I'm looking for a handful of people that are willing to go through it for 14 days for free in exchange for feedback. So thanks, Lynn. Thank you, Lady Leo. So just shoot me. I will, I have your email addresses. So I'm just curious. And since I know you guys and some of you have read the books, we'll see how it goes. But I'm excited to be adding that for people to learn from, and to feel supported by it. So that was my announcement for today. It's good to be here with you, friends. So glad you're here. So good we're hanging in there. Guns everywhere. I did pull a card for us today. And it is, I think it's funny, Rob, speaking of peace. One day her desire for peace became so great that she became peace. Give peace a chance. Just shoot me, right? Okay. I didn't say just shoot me. I was going to say just shoot me a note, an email that you'd like to be a part of this. I have, I do have Lynn. I'm going to write this down. Lynn, Lady Leo, and Sue. So you called it, Rob. Today we're giving peace a chance. It's rigged. It's rigged. Yeah, I pulled these cards before we start. So it's very interesting how they're always perfect, EJ. The cards that I pull are always good and they're always perfect. All right, sweet friends. Thank you again. It's always delightful to be here with you all. I wish you all good week, and I will be back here on Thursday, same time, same place. Until then, self-compassion, 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 my friends. Thank you all. And please, give me a thumbs up here on YouTube. It helps. It helps me to reach more people. So thanks, friends. I'll see you next time. Have a great evening, everybody. You're welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome.